Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca, Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutor's not talked in court. So this is the payroll for the District Attorney's Office. I'm going to read a Freedom of Information law from April that I've been sending to the District Attorney of Monroe County, Sandra Doyle, for 18 plus months, demanding disclosure of the names of my prosecutor's silence. And she's refused every single time, just like you. $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca and $87,000 assistant public defender Mark Phillips. This is information you have in your office. I'm not contacting you, demanding information you don't have in your possession. Christopher.chichester@mail.com. That's my mail.com. Send it to me at that mail.com. Or my Gmail on the foil, cchichester@jul4@gmail.com. Send it to me. The freaks prosecuting me in total and complete silence are right here. If they haven't been fired or they left voluntarily. I don't know. I know what they look like. You know the names. $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca and $87,000 public defender Mark Phillips. And why are you refusing to tell me these names? Because here's the foil here from April 27th. And you didn't see this foil because it came back to me in an envelope. Because you refused to open your mail. Julie Cianca and Mark Phillips. And why? It's because you're in fear of the District Attorney's Office. You're in fear of these freaks. And that makes you freaks. You're a freak, public defender Julie Cianca. You're a freak, assistant public defender Mark Phillips, because you know the names of my prosecutor's silence. And you're refusing every single time, week after week, month after month, to disclose these names to me. Why? It goes beyond just fear. It's corruption. So on this April 27th, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for John P. Lorenzo Jr. Penn Court. What's the name of the prosecutor's name, Dory? You know the answer. $140,000 Julie Cianca and $87,000 Mark Phillips. So the next four. Again, from April 27th, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for Paul C. Metzer Penn Court. What is the name? The prosecutor's name, Dory. You know the answer. You know the name. $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca, $87,000 to public defender Mark Phillips. Freedom of Information law on this April 27th. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What's the name of the prosecutor's name, Joey? You know the name of the prosecutor. $140,000 public defender and $87,000 assistant public defender Mark Phillips. You could send it to me. And you're refusing. I hesitate to try to get into the head of another human being and think the same corrupt, sick thoughts that they're thinking. Because that's unhealthy. Only you know. So here's what arrived with Perry Douglas on January 1. He refused. Here, I've read this multiple times on YouTube where he's refusing. So that's on April 27th, and there's a cover letter, because I write the foil. There's the cover letter here. Todd Baxter, Sandra, this is what you refused to open in your envelopes. Comply with 3 attached freedom of information law documents dated April 27, 2023. Melvin Hayes, my prosecutor's office, the address below in Rochester, New York. I prosecutor's office before Penn Court Judge John P. Lorenzo Jr., Penn Court Judge Paul C. Metzer, New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi. The foil language, bold point, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Lorenzo Jr., Penn Court. What's the name of the prosecutor's name? Dolan, bold point. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before Paul C. Metzer, Penn Court. What's the name of the prosecutor's name? Dolan, bold point. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What's the name of the prosecutor's name? Dolan. YouTube link, cancer, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. YouTube link, bankrupt, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. TikTok eviction at Laura Rowley. Now I tell these freaks to resign. The TikTokers, my ex-girlfriend Laura Rowley, took everything I owned to a storage locker when I'm locked out of my residence by my 80-year-old landlord Anthony on a spot. Storage lockers were cleaned out. I own nothing, have nothing. When the prosecutors never talked to court. So, April 27th, that's the cover letter. That's the foil. And then the same thing I sent on May 18th. And same thing I sent on these dates here on January 26th. The foil, every single time is included to the district attorney. And you didn't get it. And how is this explained to the members of the Model County Legislature? Because here's your mail, Julie Cianca. There's your name right there. You can see it clearly. The post office will put the uh, plastic tab of the stamp over your name, and you can't see it, but I know the name because it's on here too. So there you are. This is corruption. How is this explained? Spring Mar and the other members of the Model County Legislature. Because I'm at a total loss for why you refuse to disclose names of prosecutors in public proceeding when you have these names. These are human beings that are consumed with power and hate other human beings. And the reason why I'm demanding their names, it's not so I can just sit here in my little $600 apartment in Rochester and hate them, which is what I do. The Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. So you, Julie Cianca, is refusing to open your mail. That's ridiculous corruption. And you can see your name clearly again. How is this possibly explained? There's your name. Comes back to me. This is time consuming to do these things too. This is where I said you can't see your name, but I know it's on here because it's a tag. But that's you. The post office put this over here. That's you, Julie Cianca, refusing to open the mail. Here again is where the post office puts it over. I think there are 200 documents in here. You can see this is bigger than the other ones. Your name is right here, refusing to open it. This again is you, Julie Cianca here. You can see just tip the part of the J up here. Post office puts this over here. This comes back to me. Again, 200 documents in here. This costs money. I think this is $500 just in the envelopes I'm showing here and the copies I have to make. This one here is Mark Phillips. So you can't see your name, Mark, but on here you can see your name where you're refusing. Right here, Mark Phillips. Soon familiar, right, Mark? Mark Phillips. Refusing. This information you have. Mark Phillips again. This information you have. Lunatic friends who refuse to disclose the names of prosecutors. You see your name clearly here, returning this to me. How is this possible? Explain your name, Mark Phillips, again. Here's your name again, Mark Phillips. Again, your name, Mark Phillips. You know, I once had respect for you evaporating when you started coming back to me. There's your name. How does an $87,000 assistant public defender like this Mark Phillips send this back to me and refuse to disclose names of prosecutors in a public proceeding that he has, that he can access? Mark Phillips, again, refusing to disclose names of prosecutors in public proceeding that he has in his possession that he can access either on a hard drive or paper file. Mark Phillips again. Mark Phillips again. And file one. Mark Phillips again. What is wrong with you, Mark? What is wrong with you, Julie? It's corruption and fanaticism and fear. The freaks are on here. Who is it? How is this explained that you're refusing? I understand why the district attorney's office refuses. Because every single one of these freaks is corrupt. That's why. So, I'm locked out of my residence when I get out of Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Do you know how I arrived at Livingston County Jail in Geneseo? With Peyton Gendron, the Buffalo Tops Market mass murderer was? I'm trying to get on my life. I'm making plans to move back to Albany, where I lived in the city for 5 years and the county for 10 years. I do not know on this day that I leave my residence in Penfield. I lived there for 8 years. It's the final day I'm leaving my residence because Richard J. Sieben, Todd Baxter, $75,000 fanatic and psychopath, is watching my front door because Paul C. Metzler, this $28,000 bald-headed widow in Penfield Town, of course, one person wants to send me to jail. And pay attention, because this is important as far as the constitutionality of what happened to me. You know I'm supposed to be in court, right, Julie Cianca? What's your answer to this? Because this is what happens to me. I'll leave my residence. Richard J. C. was watching it. I'll walk down Penfield Road and walk the bad road, walk into the Penfield Public Library, get a number, I sit down. Seaman and his psychopath partner, come walking into the Penfield Public Library. I stand up at the computer. I've had a previous confrontation with Seaman. He runs at me, slams his arm into the side of my head. I fell backwards. There's a force of my head hitting ceramic tile, and then the psychopath with Seaman kicking when I was down. So, I'm picked up and frog marched out of the Penfield Public Library down the hall, and there's Paul C. Messer waiting. Julie Cianca, this is where I meet my public defender, who's the window dressing unconstitutionality of Penfield Town Court for $28,000, Paul C. Messer. Because why didn't you call me and let me know that I'm supposed to be in court? I meet my public defender before I'm supposed to be dragged in front of Paul C. Messer for her to just summarily declare me guilty? Is this constitutional or not? I don't know, and I hesitate to say something is unconstitutional, because if the destruction of a human being is constitutional for 50 plus years in Roe v. Wade, then anything can be constitutional. Julie Cianca, the $140,000 public defender, why didn't you tell me I was supposed to be in Penfield Town Court for Paul C. Metzler, and how am I meet my public defender right after I'm violently attacked by Richard J. Seaman? Answer me. You will refuse to answer. So, I get out of Livingston County Jail, but I'm in a stop for another place that I'm not going to stay here right now. And I had to out-process the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, where they give me my wallet back, where I got my Veterans Administration ID. I run down Penfield Road to some runner. It's midnight. I love that film with Mark Wahlberg called The Gambler, where he's running at midnight. I'm thinking about that film. I'm thinking I can hardly get back to Albany. I'm running down Penfield Road, pitch black, midnight. I do not know that Anthony Nospano, my 80-year-old landlord, has locked me out of my residence. Doors are open. I go around to the back. He fixed the sliding glass door. I had a key with a New York Mets logo that he went underneath the back porch to the fanaticism of this 80-year-old man. Took the key away, and then I went to Harris Brown Park, and I slept in the park for 3 weeks. Paul C. Metzler did this to me when I'm locked out of my residence. I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo when a prosecutor's not present to make an argument that I've committed a crime. Julie Cianca, Mark Phillips, is that constitutional? That means that Paul C. Metzler can convene Penfield Town Court any time she wants without the district attorney's office being notified. And if they're not notified, they're not present to make an argument that a defendant committed a crime. And that defendant can be delivered to jail in a county that defendant doesn't live in, because this $28,000 psychopath. Does it matter to you? The answer is no. So I'm locked out of my residence, and my ex-girlfriend took all my things to a storage locker, and storage locker's been cleaned out, and I don't have any clothes. I don't have any clothes because of you, Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, Paul C. Metzler, and Alex Renzi. It's held up that previously. So as far as the corruption, this is going to be sent to you and open your mail. I'm going to send this to you in the next week. This here that I'm going to show you, these documents, because this went to Perry Duckles just 2 days ago, and other members of the district attorney's office, where they're going to refuse to disclose names of prosecutors. On this January 1, I'm saying here, prosecutors never talked in court for me, yet I've been in jail 6 times. This fanaticism and hatred of your office deserves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. On here, I said I'm going to be in court again. I'm going to be in jail again. I'll be in court again. That's exactly what it says. I'm trying to move back to Albany. A psychopath in the district attorney's office decided I'm going to be elevated to Alex Renzi, the supervising judge in New York State Supreme Court. And Sandra Dorley refused to tell me who the name of the assistant district attorney is, who's assigned to that appearance. And so does Alex Renzi, who told me I was finished and done. That's not true. Because what I said on here, I'm going to say again. I will be in court again moving forward from now. And I will be in jail again moving forward from now. Because all it takes is one of these corrupt, sick fanatics at that district attorney's office to concoct some arrest warrant law. I'll be followed and tracked and stalked. They'll put the handcuffs on me. They'll take me to the corrupt judge to declare me guilty, and I'll be in jail again. That's exactly what's going to happen to me before I move back to Albany. So this is what gets Lindsey Barron for the Monroe County Office of Mental Health to come to my residence. I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time. A man named Ellie Roth is standing outside. He says, "You're going to be arrested," because I had this confrontation with a man named Nayran Shah about walking through a parking lot 4,000 times. Nayran Shah goes to the sheriff's office and you walk through this parking lot, but not anybody else. And this is how they set me up. This is the fanaticism, what you have to confront at the public defender's office. Then $67,000 Shannon Meyer calls me. I say to her on the phone, "Why are you calling me?" Because people walk through this parking lot all day long. This is what she does. She tells a man named Steve Desmond of Broncola Tree and Lawn Care to ride his tractor by my residence to get me to come out of the house, which I do because I already talked to Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office of Real Property Tax Service, and he says nobody owns the land next to my residence. This is the desperation of this sick degenerate Shannon Meyer to get me in handcuffs. I come outside, tell Steve Desmond, Broncola Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence, walk back to my residence. That's not a crime, Julie Cianca. That's not a crime, Mark Phillips. 6 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees are there because disgusting, vile, revolting hack Shannon Meyer's telling the other Sheriff Office employees she wants to arrest me. So just for telling a man on his tractor, nobody owns the land next to my residence, 6 Sheriff Office employees are there that pounded on my door, open door, say, "What's the problem?" They said, "We just want to talk to you outside. The handcuffs go on." They take me downtown to the jail. And that's when the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee came to me with a smile on his face. He had his phone in his hand, and he said, "I want to show you something." And the something is this from January 16, 2023. This is only the Todd Baxter. This photographs why you're a fanatic. This photographs why I'm an extremist. This photographs why you're a liar. This photographs why I know that ain't your $67,000 disgusting act Shannon Meyer. This photographs why people hate the police. You sent me the link. So Christina Harper, I should say, she sent me the links, who's no longer employed at the public defender's office, I believe. It's right here. This is fanaticism, corruption. This is a hatred for the human condition. And they were lying about it and calling Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence to humiliate me. Because they know at the sheriff's office, there are mentally ill individuals who think they're under surveillance by the government and nobody knows what they're talking about. I've been shown the images of this from your office, the public defender's office. They believe in humiliation at the sheriff's office. This is a reason why, among the 500 reasons why they're psychopaths. Michael Rabbit, Kathleen Miller, Scott O'Brien, William today, only $101,000 salary you copied on here. So comply with the 1870 Freedom of Information Law documents on January 18th. I sent this to you in Gmail. I believe I'll have the Gmail here. I'll be able to point to your Gmail address, Mark and Julie. Yes, it's right here. So I'm telling you, I didn't say in the language here, but your Gmails are right up here. Excuse me, your monroecounty.gov official government email. It's a perjury and violence. We're talking about Michael Houlihan perjury. You, Mark, told me the name of Houlihan, the last name. And then I got the payroll, and his first name is Michael. Seeking attacking. It doesn't matter to Sheriff of Monroe County that his employees violently attacking his citizens. So here I said, January 24, 2023, I go with the most basic 2-word sentence for Todd Baxter, San Doran. You're freaks. Now, right up here is your name, Julie Cianca, and your name, Mark Phillips. So on here, you can see, after I say you're freaks, to Baxter and Doran, comply with the attached PDF dated January 24, 2023, at 70 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your office and be registered mail return receipt from the United States Postal Service tomorrow. Mail the information and demand my address from Rochester. This includes the names of my prosecutors to silence. So I'm looking at this. There you are right here, Mark. Mark Phillips at monroecounty.gov. What's wrong, Mark? Did you blow this off? Did you block me? Am I blocked? I don't even know if I'm being blocked right now because I'm using a different email. All my emails are always different. I never use the same email twice, but you're on here, Mark. And I'm looking for Julie Cianca's name here just to make sure that I'm talking to her. I may have not included it, but you're certainly on here because I'm looking right at your name. And why don't you just tell me the names of my prosecutors? Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips for $87,000. So again, it's an email to my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, about taking all my things through storage lockers, been cleaned out, gone. Thanks to Dorley and Renzi, get this, fanaticism, perjury, violence, rejection, accountability. Every single time on these, I'm using the Freedom of Information Law, these 5 links, telling these freaks at the district attorney's office to disclose my prosecutor's silence. They refused Lisa Grace, the counsel to the district attorney. I'm going to copy her on this, where I didn't write it in language. It just says periodicals, perjury, and violence here because I'm not on this day telling her to send me the names of my prosecutors because I knew she was going to refuse. And that's just the way it is. I just sent the links. I didn't want to have language on them. Blue Wall Sounds, Todd Baxter is the most ridiculous, predictable cop cliche there is the blue wall silence here about Richard J. Seaton violently attacked me at the Pembroke Public Library. It does not matter to the blue wall silence that the Sheriff Todd Baxter and his employees violently attacked me. They stalked me over to the pharmacy entrance of Wegmans. Another time I'm going to be in jail when a prosecutor talk to court. I exit my residence, walk down Sanders Farm Drive to Willow Pond Way to the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. 5 vehicles arrived, 10 plus Monroe County Sheriff Office employees for me. Monroe County Sheriff Office employee exited his vehicle, ran at me, knocked me down. My head slammed down on the concrete pavement. The pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. I know the likeness of a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee who witnessed this, who's a female with a Marine-style haircut and tattoos. And then when they arrested me for double jeopardy, I'm New York's 5-day double jeopardy inmate. I was driving in the backseat of her vehicle, and I said to her, talking to her the whole time, I said, you watched that violent attack upon me at Wegmans by that psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, and you didn't say anything because you're the blue wall silence. And I talked about that on that link too. This is my letter to Robert J. Valente of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. I would have continued to be outside if Robert didn't help me. So this is a freak right here. And I'm looking for, here's Mark Phillips here. And I don't know if you're on here. I can't see your email right away, Julie Cianca. But on this February 16th, if you watch this, Mark, about this freak, Shannon Meyer, what did you think? A warrant for arrest for a citizen for walk through a park lot 4,000 times? Because this is what I'm talking about with this freak here. She was paid $67,000 on the original payroll I received. And then when I received the payroll again, I went right to her name thinking, did she get a raise? And sure enough, she did. So this is the last one, even though it's a packet of more than 50 on here I'm going to deal with. State legislature in Albany, Speaker Carl Heastie, Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart Cousins, and Governor Kathy Hogan to reform this law about one judge. That's why this is called one judge here. One judge can determine innocence anywhere in the state of New York, from Montauk to Buffalo and everywhere in between. The prescription for insanity that is one judge has rained down upon me. 2 speeding tickets before I'm 50. I have always known what constitutes a crime, and I'm in jail 6 times after I'm 50, with a prosecutor never once talking in court. So. Now, who is it? When I send this link to every member of the Monroe County Legislature, you owe your job, Public Defender Julie Cianca, to the Monroe County Legislature. I do not know if this is an appointment for you where you serve at the pleasure of the majority of the other members, or the president, I believe, of the Monroe County Legislature. If you have a time where you could be in office for 2, 3, or 4 years, or you could just be summarily fired, you need to be removed from office because of what I'm saying right now and what I'm telling you to do for me right now, which is disclose the names of my prosecutors, silence and information you have at the Public Defender's Office. How's that explained? If you're asked by any member of the Monroe County Legislature, as the public defender, why are you refusing to tell the citizen the names of prosecutors in a public proceeding that you have in your office? And your answer is why? They're right here. This is the payroll for the district attorney's office. So, the cops coming to my residence, demand my dog. That's why people hate the police. I was able to adopt my dog, Lollipop Farm Humane Society, in 2012, my then girlfriend Laura Riley, because I passed the background check. This is Neeraj Shah, Leva Kumar Shah, going to the sheriff's office about this parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. I'm behind my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive, where Regina Harper has been. She came to see me one time. And the back window from this repulsive shack, the Shaw law firm, opens when Neeraj Shah and his 50-year-old man lives with 7-year-old mother going to the sheriff about this parking lot. This woman is screaming at me. I have no idea what this is. I bring my little guy in. 4,000 times I've walked him beyond my residence. I walk to the park and I go in there to speak to these 2 freaks. 50-year-old Neeraj Shah lives with his 7-year-old mother. They refuse to talk to me. An hour later, this insane pounding on my front door by the sheriff's office. I have this vicious confrontation with these 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees, where I say to these 2 freaks what any dog owner would say, or language that's similar to it. You'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. When you have to deal with Monroe County Sheriff Office employees, you should think that what I just said is fascism. So, now, you will continue to refuse to disclose names of prosecutors in silence, and I'm trying to think of the reason why, because this says names on here. Names. I will go inflammatory language, where I'm calling these people psychopaths, which is what they are, and then I'll go with the basic information where it says names. So on this, there's Julie Cianca and there's Mark Phillips. I couldn't find your name before Julie Cianca, but it says right there. I'm going to send this to you again and open your mail and tell me their names. And you will refuse why? Why will you refuse Public Defender Julie Cianca and Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips to tell me the names of my prosecutors? That's mind-blowing. You see this watch? That's a $10 watch from Walmart. When I was a United States Senate employee, I worked in the Russell Senate Office Building for Senator Olympic Snow. When I was a United States House of Representatives employee, I worked in the Rayburn House Office Building for Congressman Lamar Smith. And when I got there, I would go to the gift shop and I'd buy gifts for family members and friends. I would buy my mother a United States Senate shirt, my father a United States House of Representatives shirt, coffee mugs. I was always sending my mother a coffee mug. She would say, "Can you get me another coffee mug, Chris?" So I went down there and I thought, I love these watches that they have there. And I bought a United States Senate, United States House of Representatives watch. It's about $100. My landlord, when he evicted me, I had my watches in a box. I think I had 3 or 4 United States Senate, United States House of Representatives watches. They're all gone because everything is gone. Every single thing I own is gone because this old man, Antonino Spano, locking the doors and locking me out without a court order. And I believe that these psychopaths at the sheriff's office will not arrest him. And if he is arrested, these psychopaths at the district attorney's office will not prosecute him, because what arrived at the district attorney's office is the criminal complaints, which is right here. Attached are 4 criminal complaints with this language: that Richard J. Sieben, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked into the Pembroke Public Library in Pembroke, New York, ran Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the ceramic tile floor, St. July 22nd. 2. Nayron Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, 2033 Pembroke Road, Pembroke, New York, 14526, falsely reporting an incident of Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Anderson Drive, walking through the parking lot next to his residence. 3. Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the back doors and residence 26 Anderson Drive, Pembroke, without a court order. 4. Laura Riley, Webster, and transporting personal belongings of Christopher Chichester, 26 Anderson Drive, Pembroke, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. These are crimes. Each individual will not be arrested or prosecuted. There is 1 day in jail, sir, for these crimes that destroy my life, because you're incapable of identifying crime. You can count crimes from instances to 18 conditions. Then on this day, this is called rejection, with the salaries for Perry Duckles and Mark Monahan, the deputy district attorney and assistant district attorney. 113,918 Perry Duckles, 112,508 Mark Monahan. I'm telling them to disclose the names of my prosecutors, and they refused. Unconstitutional. I call this unconstitutional because of what I said. I believe it's unconstitutional for Paul C. Metzer to be in Pembroke Town Court when the district attorney's office not been notified. Now, that language I just read, I believe I have the complaint for perjury here from Michael Houlihan, and yes, I do. Christopher Price, the Rochester Public Library, notarized this for me. This is how I was told to file a criminal complaint. I'm going to attach this in PDF. That Richard J. Sieben walked into Pembroke, of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked in Pembroke Public Library, Pembroke, New York, ran Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the surrounding top floor. So that's it right there. I'll read each one of these again. And I'm going to show you my signature here. And the reason why I'm reading this again, that I do it the right way, and tell me, and you'll refuse, I'm possibly not even being watched. But there's my signature. It's Christopher Price, the Notary Public at the Monroe Branch of the Rochester Public Library. This is the criminal complaint. Criminal complaint from Nayron Shah, these 2 freaks, and Layla Kumar Shah, going to the sheriff's office about me walking to a parking lot. Am I New York's 4,000-time criminal? I said that language repeatedly tied back with nothing from them. Nayron Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, 2033 Pembroke Road, Pembroke, New York, 14526, false reporting an incident of Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Centrum Drive, is walking through the parking lot next to the building. Sick of these 2 freaks. There's my signature here. Christopher Price, Monroe Branch of Rochester Public Library. Here's my landlord, the criminal complaint. This old man, because he's 80 years old, is going to protect him. He will not be arrested, charged, prosecuted, just think to dismiss an 80-year-old man, and he will not care. Antonio Spano, Fairport, locked the doors, front and back doors of residence, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, Christopher Chichester, without a court order. So my ex-girlfriend took everything to a storage locker, and she kept the bookcase that I own. I'll have a separate criminal complaint about that. That'll also be dismissed. Laura Riley, Webster, New York, transported personal belongings of Christopher Chichester, 26 from Drive, Pennsylvania, North to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. So now, Mark, you told me the last name of this freak, $73,000 Michael Houlihan. And then I knew his first name when I got the payroll. I went right to the payroll, I looked at his name. So, this is fanaticism. This is why people hate the police. I'm being stalked in Penfield this night. I leave my residence to go to Wegmans. I walk alongside my residence. $73,000 Michael Houlihan and $85,000 down Benedetto come running at me. I'm going to be in jail because of this night. When I ran away the whole time. It's midnight. They're on the private property of my neighbor. Judy Cianca and Mark Phillips. Do the cops have standing to walk onto the private property anywhere in Monroe County, anywhere in the state of New York, and hide and hibernate and wait for a citizen? I don't know. When they come running at me from my neighbor's private property, across the street, I turn around and run away. I never stop running. As I never stop running, I can't possibly commit a crime. I certainly can't commit a violent crime that's a violent felony assault. So, Houlihan and Benedetto, these two freaks come running at me. Anything they say is a lie. They will lie about anything, and the district attorney's office will believe any lies from freaks like these two freaks. I turn around and run away, pitch black. This is on the body camera footage that Regina Harper sent me. As I'm running, I reach my bike. I run my bike down 5 Mile Line Road every day. There's a hammer next to my bike. I grab the hammer. As I place my foot on the first of 3 steps to run through the sliding glass door, Michael Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I run through the sliding glass door. On the body cameras from Michael Houlihan and Benan Benedetto or both, I say, fuck you. I never stop running. Now they're going to have to come up with a lie. Why they're there. They're thinking this is not good for us. So the lie from Michael Houlihan is that I swung a hammer at him. I swung the hammer I just picked up at him, which is impossible because the body camera footage shows I moved forward the whole time. And the only way I could swing a hammer at cop-freak perjurer Michael Houlihan, director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, is if I stopped and pivoted on my right foot and brought it down upon him, and that didn't happen, director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley. Now I have to come up the line. They go back to the district attorney's office. Did you meet with them, Michelle Crowley, or not? Michelle Crowley convenes the grand jury. Well, I don't know the grand jury's convened. Michelle Crowley doesn't interview me. I am totally ignorant about this grand jury being convened with these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots. When Michael Houlihan states in the grand jury that I swung a hammer at him, Michael Houlihan perjures himself. So, I don't know when that grand jury is convened. I think it was convened after what's going to happen to me, because now Benedetto and Houlihan have to go back to the sheriff's office to explain what they were doing there. And as I'm walking to Wegmans in the next 48 hours, this is when they arrive at me. This is where I'm attacked again, and my head slams down on the concrete pavement. I'm taking Paul C. Metzer. I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. So I'm being violently attacked again at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, just like I was violently attacked at Penn Public Library. Prosecutor doesn't talk to court because Paul C. Metzer just convened this ridiculous, disgusting little star chamber without the district attorney's office there. So, Michael Houlihan. This is my writing right here. On criminal complaints in Todd Baxter's office over and over and over now. Since I wrote this in July 27th, I wrote this. And here was the language on it. Cop, freak, perjurer, Michael Houlihan. Criminal complaint for perjury, 73-212 Michael C. Houlihan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Quote, at 73-312 Michael C. Houlihan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked onto the private property, costing a residence 26 cents from John Penfield, North Christopher Chichester. That Houlihan ran at Chichester approximately 1 a.m. with $85,000 Don Benedetto of the Sheriff's Office. That Chichester ran away from Houlihan and Benedetto unaware of the identities. That Chichester grabbed a hammer alongside the residence next to his bike, used to fix the bike's tire. That as Chichester placed his foot on the first of 3 steps in the back porch, Houlihan grabbed his arm, the hammer in Chichester's hand, is forced up into Chichester, ran across his back porch to a sliding glass door, and as Chichester never stopped running, it's impossible to swing the hammer at 73,312 Michael Houlihan. It is impossible to swing the hammer at 73,312 Michael Houlihan. And I'm in jail for this. This is why people hate the police. he was also involved in the death of a human being that I'm not going to go into now because I'm only at 35 minutes. Michael Houlihan is a train wreck cop. Michael Houlihan hates human beings, just like Todd Baxter hates human beings. So, what's not to understand? Julie Cianca and Mark Phillips, you know the names of my prosecutors, tell me their names. I'm just astonished, mortified, disgusted that you're refusing. And when I go to FedEx and UPS and United States Postal Service, I have these 4 names. These are 4 names I usually send them to. Sometimes I have 10 names. These 4 names always, I should say. These 4 names are always included in my documentation that you've returned to me. I have others, but it's Todd Baxter, Sandra Trini, or also United States Attorney in Buffalo and Alex Renzi, who forced me into Alex Renzi and they refused to tell me the district attorney's office. So I would be back in Albany right now if these freaks and sociopaths at the district attorney's office just dismissed all my charges, so we can't make an argument that this citizen committed a crime, and that's exactly what should have happened to me, and it didn't because Sandra Dorley is corrupt. So there's this beautiful saying at the Rochester Public Library. It says, "The shadows will be behind you if you walk into the light." I hope the shadows will be behind me as I try to walk into the light. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man my whole life.